Morning. This is your girlie Vadney joining you from New York City. I am here with a guest today. I'm very pleased to be bringing you one of the guests from the Stop Self-sabotage Summit. Her name is Rebecca O'Work, and she is going to tell us some exciting things today. As you come in, please go ahead and share this broadcast so that other people can see it and join us. Rebecca, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Can you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what
Yeah,
you do?
so I'm a consulting hypnotist. I am the founder of Kawartha Hypnosis. We are in cottage country, so I don't know if you know Kawartha Lakes, which is in Canada, and we have lots of fresh lakes and the beautiful scenery where we live. And so I have a
Yes.
busy, thriving hypnosis clinic there, and I also help lots of people online with hypnosis as well. So I have lots of clients all over the world, which has been really great.
Okay, wonderful. So Canada is beautiful. We all know that.
Hmm.
And your work, it's just the kind of work that a lot of us are curious about. Can you tell me a little bit about the consultancy that you do?
First I want you to know all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So people
Uh-huh.
come to me to get help with things that they can't necessarily help themselves with, but they want to help themselves with.
Okay.
Right. So things like habits, like stopping smoking. So
Right.
I have clients that have come to us that have smoked for 30, 40 years, 50 years, even
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And, they've been trying all kinds of different ways to stop smoking. And
Mm-hmm.
hypnosis isn't usually their first stop, but we have really wonderful, amazing success rates with people to stop smoking.
Oh,
So,
really?
we also use hypnosis to help people lose weight, which is one of our very popular programs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hypnosis is one of those things that we're all doing all day, every day, and people don't even realize, right?
Oh.
All advertising is actually based on hypnosis. So I bet you I could name off a commercial that was played 20 years ago and you could still finish, the jingle or the end of that
Right,
commercial, right?
right.
So the advertisers are using relaxation, repetition, and fixation so that they're getting you to go and buy the things that you want them to buy. But we actually use hypnosis to help people get the changes and the things that they really want to get. So, um,
Okay.
so weight loss as well as stress management. We can all use stress management, but people come to us generally for things um, like I said, subconscious, automatic things that are happening and they don't understand why they're happening and they don't know how to change them and they're just so frustrated. And so usually that's like our ideal client is somebody that's tried a lot of different ways to help themselves and they're feeling frustrated and they're looking for a new approach.
Oh, that sounds exciting. So, for example,
Yeah.
if I am having issues losing weight and I come to you, um, your treatment would be about how I use my subconscious mind as it relates to food.
Yeah, not just food, but we all do bad things for good reasons, right? So there's subconscious reasons that we're eating junk food or we're sitting on the couch or being inactive or avoiding real life experiences. And so we all have different sort of things that are getting in our way. There's no cookie cutter approach or one size fits all. What we do is we offer a free screening with a client, and it's
Yeah.
about a 30 or 40-minute meeting that we have. And we just
Hmm.
sort of get to know where that client's at and where they want to be, and kind of look at some of the things that are getting in their way as far as their mind frame or some of their behaviors or some things that they're maybe not even seeing or in their way. My mentor
Right.
has a really awesome saying that I love, and she says, "You can't read the label from inside the bottle."
Oh,
Right. So when you're
that's
in it,
wonderful.
you don't
Yeah,
always know
you don't
exactly
see it.
what you got to do. So sometimes
Hmm.
it's just a matter of someone on the outside having a look in and saying, "Hey, is this really happening for you this way?" Or shining some light in some areas that you'd never
Mm-hmm.
really looked at before, right?
Right.
So one of the common things that we see with weight loss and hypnosis is we have a lot of clients that we call them like, not, I don't want to categorize or anybody, but they're like overthinkers, right? So they spend all this time thinking and researching and looking at all the different angles. Like they'll go out and research all the best ways of working out and go buy all the best workout equipment, but they don't actually get to working out, right?
No, they don't.
Right. So there's a disconnect between, thinking and the actual taking the action part. So
Right.
sometimes we have to create a stronger connection there, or we can use different hypnosis techniques. We also use something called NLP, which is Neuro Linguistics Programming. Have you ever heard of
Uh-huh.
that?
I think I have, but I'm not sure what all of that is.
Yeah, so neuro is in the pathways of the brain, linguistics is in language, so it's basically the language your brain speaks, right? So
Okay.
as we're learning new behaviors and we're trying on new sort of perspectives or way of looking
Mhm.
at life, we could
Mhm.
use different techniques through NLP, neuro linguistics programming, and that can really help people get to their destination a lot quicker and easier. And we can use hypnosis to make the behavior and thoughts more natural and automatic.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would say someone who said, "I want to lose weight, buy up all the equipment, maybe even register at the gym, but does nothing, that they are just self sabotaging in some way that they may not even recognize."
Yeah, so it's happening automatically just because of it's usually a fear of some kind that's holding them back from taking action,
Mhm.
right? And it's different for different people, and there's
Yeah.
no right. But what happens is some of my clients will come up with like 10 or 20 or 30 plans before they'll take action, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. I've been
So
down that road.
right. Yeah. So what we teach people to do is how to have the right amount of thought. So to kind of formulate like one really solid plan and then how to shift into your senses and into your body and then be able
Right.
to take action from that place, right? So there needs to be something that happens between the plan and then thinking about another plan and thinking about another plan.
Right.
Yeah.
I was reading something recently that said that when that happens to, it is because it is not a priority to you. Even though you may think it's a priority, it really isn't.
That might be
That's
true for
what,
some people, but that's
yeah.
definitely not true for everyone, right? There's
Okay.
no one size kind of fits all for this. So that would be
Hmm.
true for someone, then we could help them get that out of their way and sort of reframe how our perspectives sometimes are or how we're thinking about some things that are not useful, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So we all
So,
have.
so you go at it from a deeper level.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a deeper level, maybe just not one people have seen obviously or necessarily considered or had someone maybe point out to them previous, right?
Okay.
And, believe it or not, people, in my experience, are generally very very grateful for having things pointed out to them. Like I can
Yeah.
remember when I first started becoming a hypnotist, I was worried about, giving people feedback that maybe didn't necessarily feel complimentary, or it wasn't, they say that us Canadians are so super nice, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
there was a time that I was worried about not being super nice and like giving people real raw, this is what's kind of in your way. But after many years of doing this, I've found a bit of a finesse to, get in a good relationship with people, and that they actually really do appreciate you calling them out on their stuff that other people
Right.
just haven't really called them out on before, and in a loving way that is obviously trying to get them what they want.
Yeah, because if you don't tell them up front what's wrong, or what or how they're getting in their own way, then
Mhm.
they probably won't know.
Yeah. And,
So,
and so there's two different types of ways of learning. There's literal learning, which is what most people are used to. And that's like reading and writing and doing tests and things like that. But how we
mhm.
teach in the office is what we called inferred, which means you actually have to do it to learn it. So we're
Right.
giving people experiences, and then they're learning from those experiences, and then they're learning that it's way better that way, and then they keep it that way.
Right. 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 Sounds pretty exciting to me, and something that I think the audience should be interested in. You spoke about pain management, fear, managing fear and phobias, confidence creation. Uh, Tell me, elaborate on those a little bit more for me.
All right. Well, people commonly come to a hypnotist for really strong fears or phobias that they're having some kind of reaction to that they have no control over. Right.
Mhm.
So sometimes, like, I've had people with fear of dogs, fear of cats, fear of snakes, fear of frogs, fear of bridges, fear of flying. Like, there's lots of different fears. And so at some point, people have a subconscious reaction to something that prevents them from going near it or interacting with it or doing it. And sometimes that doesn't affect them at all in their life, and they can go their whole life with that, and it's no big deal. But sometimes, maybe they want to go on a trip, and that means that they have to get on an airplane. The person that I had that was afraid of frogs, they wanted to go on a trip to somewhere that had a really large frog population. So
Mhm.
they felt like they needed to deal with that first. So basically, people are coming because they're like really fed up with the fear or the reaction that they're having in their body, and they don't understand the reaction. They've tried logically to change it. Like if they could logically change it, they totally
Right.
would,
Right.
right? But it's just something that's happening on an automatic level that they logically don't know why or how to do it differently. So at that point, we have to sort of use some NLP techniques and some hypnosis to sort of help them how they see that fear, or where they hold that fear in their brain. So where we
Mhm.
hold our memories and things like that, we can actually change that. So for people that come to us for fears and phobias, not only are they coming to get to change it, but we also expect them to prove to us that they got what they came for. So at the end of
Oh.
their program, there's going to be some kind of way that we expect them to show that they got their results, right? So we really believe in ethical programs. right?
Okay, so so I'm afraid
Yeah.
of lizards, right?
Okay.
You could help me to get over that, and then I would have to show you something like touching one.
Yeah, yeah. In some way, shape, or form, you'd have to prove to me. So, for example, recently I had a young girl come and she had lots of fears of public speaking and things like that. And by the end of her program, I just so happened to be doing a radio ad for a Mother's Day radio campaign. And she came in, she was one of the speakers on my radio ad, and she did a fabulous job. And she was so proud of herself. And it was really the step that she needed in order for her to show herself that it was totally different. And
I lost your sound.
you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Sorry about that. Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah. So she could just leave it that way because it was way better that way.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So, how do you help people with sports performance?
In sports, it's really important to get into a zone. And for different activities, there's a different zone. Okay, so
Mhm.
I'm just going to compare sports performance with test anxiety. Well, let's not call it anxiety. Um, people who have fear of writing tests. Okay, so when you're in sports performance, you need a whole lot of fight and flight, right? You want your adrenaline pumping, you want to be
Yeah,
ready to
yeah.
pounce, you want to be at
Mhm.
the peak of that. But what happens is sometimes people put so much onto themselves that they go past that peak. And once
Oh.
they go past that peak, then there's, disconnects in the thoughts, and sometimes fear creates emotion that will get in the way. And so, what we do is we help athletes sort of anchor in the right zone for their performance. And we give them tools and techniques so that they can be very kind of in that zone where nothing else kind of matters around them, where we can block out the audience, we can block out any of the distractions that are
Mhm.
unuseful, and help them become like very, very focused on their job and how they're going to get that job done. So
Okay.
we help them that way, but you can understand with people who are trying to study for tests, you want to have like more of a rest and relax. You don't
Mhm.
want a lot of fight and flight, right? So their zone is just a little bit of fight and flight, like enough to get them to study and take the action and do the things that they got to do, but not so much that they're putting pressure on themselves, that they're forgetting the information or again, letting fear get in the way of being their most resourceful
Hmm. Makes
selves.
sense. Great. Okay, and
Yeah.
sleep. Sleep is a big thing for a lot of us. Um,
Yes,
do you have to
yes.
do extensive work on people when it comes on to sleep, or is it just as
Oh no,
easy as
no,
anything else
no.
that you do?
It's pretty easy. So sleep is there, like I said, there's no one cookie cutter approach. Some people come because they have a hard time getting to sleep. Sometimes people come because they have a hard time staying asleep. One of the tools that we always teach people that are having some sleep problems that want improvement is self hypnosis. So we teach them how to sort of hypnotize themselves and offer their body suggestions so that they can relax and then behave the way that they want to instead of just react to their thoughts or their environment and or certain stimulus that they can't shut off.
Okay.
Does that make
All right.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you said hypnosis, and is that the normal regular thing that all hypnosis is self?
Yeah, so like I said, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You are the one doing it. I'm just the
Hmm.
teacher or the guide. And you have experienced hypnotic-like states many, many times in your life. It's very similar to when you go to the movies. If it's funny, you might laugh. If it's sad, you might cry or feel your mood change. And you know the movie's not real, you're responding to the emotional suggestion and you're allowing it to
Hmm.
sway your behavior, right? Or like we were saying earlier, like when you end up in your driveway and the last 8 blocks of the route disappeared because you've driven that 8 blocks so many times that you just don't have to think about it anymore.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So that's also a hypnotic like state. Anything you do over and over and over again, and you don't have to think about it anymore, that comes from your subconscious. So I teach people how to work with their own subconscious mind. That's why all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You have to be willing to accept the suggestions. You have to be willing to follow my direction, right? So there's about 10% of the population that hypnosis doesn't work for, right? And there, those percentage of people, it's typically because sometimes we call them like a smarty pants, right? Where they want to prove to us that they can't be hypnotized.
Right.
Um, there's part of the population that has got an IQ lower than 70. So that's basically people who just can't follow our directions. Somebody who's heavily intoxicated or on certain narcotics or some medications have a hard time. And you know, the person who basically is like telling you that they're so far against hypnosis that you know they don't even want to come near you. Well, I certainly couldn't hypnotize someone like that, right?
No, you couldn't.
No.
Okay, so because they have to be involved, they have to
They
be
have to be
open.
involved. You have to want to
They have to
follow
be.
my suggestions. So
Mm,
when you see
okay.
those people up on the stage and they're having fun up on those stage shows, and maybe they're doing silly things that they wouldn't normally do, but the reality is all those people actually want to be doing those things. They want to be following the hypnotist suggestions. And if for some reason the hypnotist offered something, a suggestion that was against their morals, values, or beliefs, all that would happen is they would just snap out of hypnosis and go right back to their seat. Like it wouldn't have been a big deal at all. Okay, so
No.
we can't control people's minds. We can't make them do anything they don't want to do. Right. So those are some real misconceptions that people have with hypnosis. Like I said, we all have a subconscious mind. It's just a matter of whether you have it working for you or just allowing it to operate in a reactive way and moving through life, rolling with the punches and dealing with it as you go.
Oh, okay. Got you. Got you. I learned so much from just this very brief conversation with you, though. Um, what can the audience expect from you on Sunday?
All right. So on Sunday, we're going to be talking about the 3 P's of self sabotage, which is procrastination, placation, and perfection. So I bet you all of us can relate to all 3 of those topics in some way, shape, or form. All right. But the third, the placation, which most people don't know what that means, right? So placating is something that I'm going to teach you that is a way that we cope in life when we don't feel safe.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
So a lot of us are doing these things on a regular basis, maybe sometimes daily, maybe sometimes weekly. And so all these things are getting in our way of actually just getting to the goal that we want for ourselves. So we're going to talk a bit about what my perspective as a hypnotist and the things that I know and the training that I have is what self-sabotage really is and all of that. And then we're going to talk about the placating, perfectionism, and procrastination and how to overcome them.
All right. Wonderful. Sounds good to me. And I hope these people who are seeing this, whatever time you see it, that you're planning to be at the event on Sunday to see Rebecca's presentation and to learn something. And at the end, we will have a short Q&A so you could also ask questions. That's why we're having it live on Zoom, so it's more interactive. Will you have like a special offer for the audience, Rebecca?
I will, yes. So I'm going to offer the audience 30% off of any of my programs, a free screening, which I offer to anybody. And I'm also giving away a special gift, which is a hypnosis audio program called Sabotage Armor. So this hypnosis program is actually a professional program that's done by my mentor's mentor, who lives in Florida, and he is the founder of the Master Hypnotists Society. If you ask me, he's one of the best hypnotists in the world. His name is Scott McFall, and I'm going to be giving you or our listeners a copy of his Sabotage Armor audio program. So you can look forward to that.
Okay. All right. So we are already excited about that, and I am so looking forward to this. I just want to publicly thank you again for volunteering your time to be on this summit with us.
Well, I
And
hope
we
we
look
reach
forward
lots of
to it.
people and we can help lots of people, and that's what we're here to do, isn't it?
Sure. Do you have anything you want to say in parting?
Well, I would really like to thank you for your time and all of the hard work that you've put into bringing this together. And I know you haven't asked for anything in return, so I really just want to say thank you and let you know that we appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. You could just stay on, and I'm going to close this out. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sharing, and I will see you guys later or tomorrow to bring you more updates. And just have a wonderful afternoon wherever you're watching from. So we will talk. This is your girl Evadne closing out from New York City. Bye bye.